Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain on one of my favorite financial wins. I didn't even realize how much money I had saved, but when I added it up, I saved over 70,000 on my kitchen remodel without sacrificing the look, the quality, or even the functionality. And I just want you to think as we go through this that creating a financially secure life you love does not require millions. It requires the right strategy, the right mindset, and the willingness to think differently. Knowing how to make smart financial moves is a key. Hi, I'm Annette Bau, host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast and founder of the Millionaire Insider. My mission is to help you simplify the money game so you can create a financially secure and fulfilled life without having to have a PhD or spend countless hours on your finances. You're going to learn how to think like a millionaire, stop worrying about money and wondering if your financial house is truly in order, and instead spend your time doing what you love. With over 3 decades advising 7, 8, and even 9-figure millionaires, and now joining that elite group, I'm in a unique position to help you make the best financial choices so you can create a secure financial future and retirement you love. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. Today's free resource is our magical budget template. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/MBT. Our magical budget template just helps you separate out wants and needs. And the power of it is it makes you conscious of what you're spending money on so that you are going to be able to achieve your goals and can stop worrying about running out of money or actually running out of money. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/MBT. Our magical budget works with people who have money and people who don't. I have used it for literally years. And what it does is it separates out needs and wants. So you get really clear on the action you're taking, what you're spending, and more importantly, how much you need to save. And if you are saving that amount so you can achieve your financial goals. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/MBT. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/114. Millionaireseries.com copyrights all intellectual property. This information is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement, or healthcare advice. By accessing this content, you agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. So let's dive into how I saved $70,000 on my kitchen remodel. First thing I want to get into is why it matters, and it should be obvious. So many people are so focused in on brilliant wealth strategies or money management. That's one angle. The other is how much you're spending, your everyday spending. And it's so easy to get caught up on your retirement, your tax, your investing plan, which is critical. But don't forget that your spending is such a key component. And whether you're remodeling your kitchen or you're planning a trip, knowing how to make smart financial moves is a key to living and creating a secure, financially free life you love. So you're going to learn just kind of like how to evaluate spending and really think about out of the box ideas. That's one of the things I'd say about millionaires versus other people is that we think outside the box. And also for you to really look at reallocating some of your wants with an ability to achieve what you want to do. I want you to be thinking as you go through this of how you can get something you want, like a new kitchen, but at the same time, still maintain that plan you have for your retirement. Now, truth be known, had I saved $70,000, it's not going to make an impact in my retirement. But as I started getting into this and I started really thinking about it, I'm like, this is brilliant. And just to give you a little backstory, how this all came about. So this is my second home up in the mountains. And it's beautiful. I love it. What I didn't love was the granite. When I first got it, I loved it. But the granite is like all over the counters and then all up the back wall. And it's got mountains built out of it. I mean, it's pretty impressive. My neighbor said that is some of the most beautiful granite I've ever seen. Well, it's beautiful now because I have different colors. Originally, when I got it, the walls were painted this kind of yellow. So there's a little bit of gray in the granite, a little bit of yellow, and a few like darker red, maroon, and then this kind of like off-white. Well, you can imagine you have yellowish walls and it just kind of brings out this like putrid gray and yellow. And I'm like, I can't live with this. So my plan was I'm going to get new granite. And then in the process of that, I'm going to get new cabinets. Well, the issue of getting granite when you're in a rural area is very difficult. In fact, I had to have one of the companies I've used for granite from Phoenix come all the way up. Well, you're paying all these guys hourly rates. It gets very expensive. So not only does it get expensive, but it's a nightmare. And then they have to break out all the old granite. So that was the barrier to my doing anything for as long as I waited. And then I don't even know how I had the fortitude to do what I did, but I thought, what if I change the colors? So what I decided to do is I'm going to change the colors on the cabinets, on the wall, get new appliances. Oh, and then on top of it, we had bisque appliances, which are yellow. I don't know what I was thinking. And so we got stainless steel appliances. But I thought, I'm just going to change that, see what it looks like, and then I'm going to make a decision on the granite. So just to give you a little backstory. Now, my schedule's busy, and my husband kept complaining that I was never available to go look at appliances. And so it's kind of funny. I have these great ideas, and then he's the one that's like the implementer. We've got to go do it. Well, we just literally went down to the local Home Depot, and I didn't realize they have like a high end. They have different levels. And so they've got like super high end, and then they've got the next level. Well, we didn't get the high level. We got the next one. But I kid you not, part of this was just luck. And I think the universe must have really been looking out for us, because we went in and they were having a clearance sale. And then the store was willing to negotiate. So we bought these discounted high-end brands with full warranties. And then we negotiated a package pricing, and we avoided those inflated storeroom prices. And interestingly enough, I actually called up to both Lowe's and Home Depot, which are two stores that are up in northern Arizona, and they couldn't even come close to the package we got. We called the place where we had bought the appliances at our home, which is more high-end. They couldn't even come close to it, even with these brands. So it was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. We spent $5,000 and we saved like $15,000. Now it would have been more like $6,016 because with taxes, you get the point. It was literally about a $10,000 savings. Now, I'm not really into designer clothes. I am not into like high-end appliances. We have had some very high-end appliances at our current home, including a faucet, which I'll talk about in one second. But the tip here as far as appliances is just do your homework and compare retail showroom prices with outlet stores, direct distributors, and even the local hardware store. You don't know what you're going to find. All right, so let's talk about faucets. I had it was $1,500, $2,000 faucet in my current home. A few years after we got it, it broke. It literally took us 3 weeks to get the part we needed from Germany. It broke again last year, and I said, forget this. Let's just get a different one. Well, when I was looking at all these different luxury brands, because the store we went to is a high-end store. It's one that actually did all of our faucets and our toilets and parts of our tub and all that. It's a very high-end appliance store, bathroom store, whatever you want to call it, and very good quality materials. And I started looking at different ones, and I'm like, I didn't have a problem between the one that was $400 versus the one that was $1,900. And so that's what we got. And it looks great. It's performing very well. My recommendation on this is just the fact that quality and function are important. And not always are high-end brands worth it. You just got to look at it yourself. Hopefully you live in an area where you don't have to have the $20,000 refrigerator. And I will say this much, because we have a built-in at our house, which is very high-end, and we've had so many problems with it. It's just amazing. You think you're spending more and you're going to get better value. That's not always the case. The next area was cabinets. Originally, I thought about getting new cabinets, and this is the third remodel. So we had our first, what we did originally when we moved in. Then we got new cabinets, and it was a nightmare. And now this is our third go around. So I was going to get new ones. And I thought, oh my gosh, we were literally without a kitchen for like 6 months. It was such a nightmare. Now, granted, we were traveling and we were busy. I love watching HGTV. And at my club, when you walk into the women's locker room, there's a sitting area where the TV's playing, and it's always HGTV. It's always home remodels. And my husband and I love to watch it. And I was watching this couple that redid their kitchen cabinets. In my neighborhood I live in Phoenix, all of my neighbors have redone theirs. And it was really impressive because I'm like, God, they look so good. Now, we didn't have knobs on our old ones, and it was kind of like this dark cherry that had lightened. It just was the most disgusting color. And then you add that with the gray, the yellow, and the dark maroon, and it was just enough to make you sick. And it was very dark and dingy. And then the walls had a yellow hue to them. And obviously I'm over exaggerating, but it's like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. Well, the cabinets would have cost $30,000. Instead, we paid $1,000. And I got a smoking deal because the guy that came and did them, he just was in between jobs, and they sanded them, they primed them, and then they painted them. And you can't even really tell that they were oak because it's kind of like it took off the grain. They did the top ones. Now I'm going to do the bottom ones. I watched what they did and I'm like, oh, I can do that. And if I can't, I'll have them do it. But the top are a beige. I just love it. I tested every single beige. My husband is a saint because I go in and I test all these colors. People walk in, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm thinking about getting a new color for my kitchen cabinets. I'm sure people think this is crazy. Actually, we did the cabinets and the walls the same. And then we did the trim a little bit darker, all beige. And it just looks unbelievable. And then my husband did the new hardware. For an extra $100, they painted the walls. Now, there's not a ton of walls because it's a wood cabin, a pine cabin, tongue and groove. They had 2 quasi walls and then a little section. So it wasn't a lot, but it was only $100 because they were already doing the cabinets. The color is just to die for. I have some other standalone pieces that they had wanted $2,000 to paint. And so I just did it myself. And the reason I did it myself is because I couldn't choose the color. Now, granted, I probably spent $500 on paint and I may still change the color. I have painted a couple of these walls. I even saved more than $70,000 because I have painted 2 walls, like literally, I don't know, like 5 times. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to figure out what color I want. But anyway, my point being is that I saved $1,500 on the cabinets. And then the granite, as I mentioned, I just could not deal with that. And I was like, I have to get rid of it. Now that I have different paint color, it looks so good. In fact, my neighbor, who could be a decorator, came in and she's like, oh my God, it looks so good in here. I love this granite. I love the way you did this. No one ever says that because before it just looked off with the colors. So that was just absolutely huge. Now, one of the things I will note on this, which is just important if you're ever building a house, our first home was where I really learned about granite because I'd never had money. So I never had a home that had a granite. I had Formica and it was fine with the Formica. But when we moved into the home we currently live in, like literally 25 years ago, we got granite. We literally paid like $50,000 for our granite. We got so robbed. It's just crazy. You can go and get remnants. Now, granted, in our kitchen, we wouldn't have been able to, but you can even find someone who is going to give you a better deal by buying the granite and then using them. I mean, it was just crazy. I have never come close to spending that much money ever again once I understood how it works and that you can go and find contractors that allow you to either get your own material or get a discount by buying it. And a lot of them have jobs where they ordered too much or where they just have an inventory they want to get rid of. So it does take time. The only downside is it takes time and you've got to go do the work. So you got to factor that in. But when you save $70,000, it's like, oh, okay, you can. When I added everything up, I spent about $7,000 and I saved $70,000. So it would have cost me about $77,000 had I done everything I was thinking about doing. I mean, that's literally 10%, 90% savings. just makes me feel good. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to share this with you. And I think something that's so funny is I think a lot of times people get caught up in, oh, I got my cabinets for $30,000. I literally have one of my person I know, and they just got cabinets and they spent like literally $40,000 and they don't have a lot of money. And I'm sitting here in the back of my mind, obviously, I'm not going to say anything unless they ask me. But I'm thinking, they're always complaining that they don't have enough money, but then they go and spend $40,000 on cabinets. I just want to remind you that every dollar you save, whether it's from a trip or whether it's from your kitchen, is something you can use to grow your assets and help you create guaranteed income in retirement. I don't care how much money you have. $70,000 is a lot of money. So let's look at just a couple of takeaways. You don't have to overspend to really create a beautiful environment that's very functional. I mean, I love my kitchen. It's not super huge, but I just love it. I could sit there and just look at it, and I just love the colors. Always ask, is the price I'm going to pay creating lasting value? Or is it just to simplify, say, some short-term desire, some dopamine hit, or bragging rights? It's probably like I was always thinking about this. I'm like, I wonder if I'll be judged saying, oh, she's so cheap. She should have done what she wanted to, and instead she saved the money. But that's okay. I feel so good knowing I saved that much money. And I feel even better or more empowered because I'm being a good steward of it. Now, I am going to have to repaint one of the hutches because I did it in this cool blue that literally I have spent more money on paint than I want to tell you. But I've decided I need to do it in green because it'll look better with the refrigerator is stainless, but on the side, it's got a little bit of green hue to it. So I'm going to redo that. And then I'm going to try to do the bottom cabinets. And I think I can do them. It's interesting. It'll be interesting. If not, then I'll hire and have them done. I mean, it's only $1,000. So it's not the money as much as it is just the therapy of doing it. Like my husband and I this year, we did our entire yard. Now, we did find somebody that next year we'll probably use, but they just oftentimes don't do a great job. And I don't mind doing that work. Like people, I think, meet me and they're thinking like, oh, she can't ride a horse. She can't do yard work. And nothing could be further from the truth. I was thinking like, oh, if we ever have to move somewhere and like live on the land, I could do it. So anyway, again, to each his own, but I just want to encourage you to not get caught up in like having to look like you have money or bragging rights or things like that. And I think it's hard not to, because I get it. We even have friends like that are always bragging about what they have or what they've gotten. It's not a judgment, but it's something that sometimes then you feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I should have that. And I just hope you don't get caught up in that because long term for most people that wreaks financial havoc. One of the things I encourage you to consider is redirecting your savings into your freedom fund, where you create residual income, where you have your retirement plan and you have your dreams and goals set up so that you know what you're aiming towards. When you're smart with spending, you increase your peace of mind and your long-term happiness and wealth. So important. Some closing thoughts on how I saved literally over $70,000 on my kitchen remodel. Whether you're remodeling or making daily purchases or going on a vacation or even paying for something for your child, you want to remember that every dollar you save can be invested for your retirement and it becomes a building block for the life you love. So important. And I just want you to know that you can do this. We're here to help you. We want to encourage you and let you know how important it is that you really make your financial future a top priority. Whether it's saving $1,000 or $70,000, the point being is that it all adds up and you're going to be so glad you did. I'm Annette Bao. All international copyrights are reserved. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for next step finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. Until our next episode, take one action that will help you create a financially free life you love. I'm Annette Ba'u, your host. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.